Over the last few years, there's a story that's stuck with me in a way that very few have managed in the past. It's 2019, a pre-COVID world, what feels like lifetimes ago now. I was a college student majoring in English and creative writing, and I think you know the type. Oh, the literature I digest is greater than whatever lowbrow stories you involve yourself with. Snobby, I'm so much smarter than you are type vibes. Pretty cringe, I know. So, efforts from close friends of mine to get me to start watching anime or reading manga went largely ignored. Now, I'd grown up with and still enjoyed Dragon Ball, like so many people my age who watched on Toonami late nights after our parents thought we were asleep. And to me, the snobby, college-educated English major, that was all the anime experience I felt I needed. Fast forward to early COVID, the same friend of mine recommended an older anime to watch. We worked overnights together and I had gotten out early, around 3 a.m. There's not much to do at that time, especially when the entire world is shut down. So I thought, what the hell, I'll give that show a try. It was called Berserk. I marathoned the 97 anime from start to finish. I was locked in. The battles were intense, the lore was awesome, and despite animation that was substandard even for the time, the art direction was great throughout, and we couldn't possibly forget the music that accompanied all of it. Before I could even process what I had watched, my wallet seemed to become strangely light, and I looked over at my bookshelf to notice... Don't ask what I spent on this. In an embarrassingly short amount of time, I caught up to the then most current publications of the series. I had fallen in love with Berserk, and the medium of manga as a whole. I experienced waiting grueling amounts of time until a new chapter was released, and the coming together of a community that turned these releases into events. It all felt very special, like a family reunion once or twice a year, all very exciting, all to discuss the life's work of one man. That is, however, until May 20th, 2021. When it was announced that Berserk's author, the legendary Kentaro Miura, passed away. It was in the break room at the previously mentioned job with that same friend when he told me that the news had just broken. We looked at each other and then back down at our phones in disbelief. It's difficult to explain the whirlwind of emotions in that moment. All I know is that the death of a man I had never met, never would ever meet, a man of whom there were about 5 existing photos online, who I never saw speak in interviews or hear from outside of sentence-long blurbs once or twice a year at the end of a new chapter. This man's passing brought me nearly to tears. And I wasn't alone in this. Of all the things that followed in the days after Miura's passing, the future of Berserk, his unfinished masterpiece, was not really of much concern. Instead, amongst the community that I had fallen in love with, there was only appreciation for Kentaro Miura and the work that he had left behind for all of us. It had been months since I finished Berserk, and the outpouring of love and appreciation I saw across social media through tweet threads of panels or expressions of how Berserk changed people, it all made me feel a sort of nostalgia. So I decided to go back and find what it was that made this story so special to me. And listen, there are thousands of videos and articles detailing what objectively makes Berserk so great. We know how masterful Miura was in his artwork. The absurdly heavy action sequences he created, the detail that poured from his panels. These things have been talked about for years at this point. And all of these attributes that Berserk boasts are what made me cling to the story. But Berserk brings something else within the chaos of its action, in its breathtaking 2-page spreads. Something that maybe gets just a bit less attention. The beautiful, tranquil, even sometimes warm moments, where the blistering pace or gruesome confrontations cease, and the story for just a brief moment will slow to a crawl. These short periods of relief are necessary in a story like Berserk. They allow the reader to step back along with the character and just let everything that the two have simultaneously been through wash over them. To soak everything in and take a breather before continuing to struggle on. Berserk is a heavy story, there's no denying it. There are times for many readers that they have to step away as something so horrific is happening. These calm moments, paired with often serene imagery and a character being unusually introspective, are like built-in reprieves, like a safe room in a survival horror game. Miura was equally talented in making his readers emotionally invested as he was blowing your face off with large action set pieces. You care for these characters, which makes these moments all the more special. I realized this was what made me a Berserk fan for life, and it was also this that caused me to feel so conflicted when a little over a year after Kentaro Miura's passing, it was announced that Berserk would return. I had mixed feelings. Don't get me wrong, I was excited that my favorite series was returning, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't have any reservations. Berserk is the life's work of one man, written over the course of 30 years. Without Kentaro Miura at the helm, how could it possibly go on? And so, when the newest chapters released from Studio Gaga, those reservations, the cautious skepticism, it all washed away when I was met with this. There it was yet again, that serene, quiet, beautiful artwork. I knew Berserk was in good hands. Immediately following this was the continuation of the story from the cliffhanger Miura left us with at the end of his final chapter. Guts is met with the horrific reality of the Moonlight Boy's true identity. Casca has slipped through his fingers once again. Our main character was not able to land even a single blow to his mortal enemy. And what's more, the quiet moments. Casca painstakingly living within the walls of Falconia, Guts distraught upon the ship with which the gang escaped Elfhelm, at war with his beast of darkness. It was all there, and I couldn't be happier. But I won't lie to you and tell you that these newest chapters are no different than what Miura was giving us for nearly 30 years. This was Berserk, no doubt, but it was clear that it was different. The artwork, while amazing in its own right, sometimes felt off, at least when compared with Miura's work. Guts in particular had been drawn a bit wonky in at least a few cases, and overall it seemed there was much more shading used throughout. The new chapters were also noticeably lacking in dialogue, though the intense action sequences taking place probably didn't help. It felt different, but that doesn't make Berserk post-Miura bad. No, in fact, some of these chapters are bordering on fantastic, masterful works, especially the more recent outings showing that Studio Gaga without Kentaro Miura has really begun to find its footing. Berserk is a masterpiece, in every sense of the word, and to match it note for note would be asking a near impossible task for even the greatest artists alive. So personally, I'm not looking for the story to continue with the ever so high quality it had under Miura. Rather, I hope it can reach the conclusion its author had intended, with the utmost respect and honor given to the work and his legacy. And I think, with the few chapters we've received, Berserk seems to be heading in just that direction, with a quality even higher than I hoped for. So, if you're one of those Berserk fans who refuses to accept the manga without Kentaro Miura, I understand, and I couldn't blame you for doing so. I'm not telling you that you must read these chapters, I'm simply trying to say that they've been doing a good job. Berserk is different now, yes, but that's okay. It's still undeniably Berserk. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It just lets me know that you'd like to see stuff like this in the future, and I would love to keep making it. It's really been fun. Anyway, hope to get to talk to you again soon. Bye.